special guest. Now, we are going to get started off with hatred, because, of course, hatred is the top of the headlines at the moment, particularly hatred in Scotland. Well, Humza Yousaf is not terribly excited about what's going on in terms of the response to the hate bill, or the hate act as it now is in Scotland. There's been a lot of disinformation spread on social media, he says, through some inaccurate media reporting and by political opponents. So what is he talking about? Well, this is this new law which comes into force, and we're going to give a little bit of the detail on it at the moment, but it extends the offence of stirring up hatred to other things like age, disability, religion, sexual orientation, transgender identity, and variations in sex characteristics, otherwise known as intersex. Now, of course, a lot of the furore over this came with Police Scotland putting this webpage up and creating their Hate Monster campaign, and this resulted in huge derision online and so on. If you go looking for this page now, this is what you get, a 404 page not found. Now, in the mainstream press, they are denying that the Hate Monster is dead, but it's certainly been taken down from the website in the meantime. Now, we might be making light of this. Actually, there's an extremely serious aspect to this, and I just want to look at some of the text from the Police Scotland national guidance on the issue. So let's look at what it says. For recording purposes, in other words, for the police to record this as... I see my fonts are a bit messed up, so I do apologise for this. For recording purposes, the perception of the victim or any other purpose is the defining factor in determining whether an incident is a hate incident or is recognised, or in recognising the malice element of a crime. The perception of the victim, Ben, right? Let's go on with it. And this is also going to be a bit wrong, but anyway, the perception of the victim should always be explored. However, they do not have to justify or provide evidence of their belief, and police officers or staff members should not directly challenge this perception. Evidence of malice and ill will is not required for a hate crime or hate incident to be recorded and thereafter investigated as a hate crime or hate incident by police. It goes on. The alleged actions of the perpetrator must amount to a crime under Scottish crime recording standard rules. So fair enough, it has to be a crime. If this is the case, the perception of the victim or any other person will decide whether the crime is recorded as a hate crime. And finally, if the facts do not identify a recordable crime, but the victim perceives it to be a hate crime, the circumstances will be recorded as a hate incident, not non-crime incident. But I don't know what you think about this, Ben, but it seems incredible to me that they are really trying to get away with evidence not being required in order for an event to be recorded as a hate crime and therefore investigated by the police. And the question then is, where does that end? The police could be, and perhaps this is the way that campaigners might go, police could be overwhelmed by this extremely quickly if every comment that anybody makes is reported as some kind of hate crime.
I mean, it's a total perversion of due process. And yeah, I think it could descend into chaos very quickly. Maybe that's the point.
Well, maybe it is. Debbie, I don't know if you've got any thoughts on this.
Well, yes, I certainly have. Good afternoon, everybody. After speaking to the youngsters that I spoke to with regards to Prevent and what's happening in England, you know, you've only got to say something and it gets reported to a Prevent officer, and then you get a knock on the door. And if that knock on the door, the person that's knocking on the door deems your comment to be discriminatory or a matter of national security, it's a police investigation. So it's just Prevent on speed, I think, in Scotland.
It is indeed. Now, let's just bring this up from the Scottish Union for Education, because if you want to know more about this, there's no better place to go. And Stuart Wheaton, who's been on this programme, has written for us in the past, is involved with this organisation. What I'm looking at here is Scottish Union for Education newsletter number 60. And they're making two real points here, Debbie. First of all, as you say, does this mean that children who are often or can be acerbic at times are going to be being reported on a widespread basis? And if they are being reported on a widespread basis, what effect is that going to have on their future lives, on their future careers, if they have a black mark against them from the age of nothing? And we already have a regime in England, for example, where children are in primary schools are having instances of whatever kind of behavior recorded, and this on a piece of paper, and this piece of paper follows them right through to adulthood. So this is a pretty difficult direction to be going in. But then the other point that they also make, of course, is that teachers and lecturers are likely to be on the receiving end of comments from students, in fact, as we know from the David Miller case, where he lost his job at Bristol University for making what were alleged to be anti-Semitic comments. Where does this end, Debbie?
Well, the consequences ripple on throughout lives. I mean, it's going to get worse before it can. And we all need to be aware of it, and we need to be standing up against it. It's as simple as that. We need to be talking about it.
Yes, indeed. Okay.